Hey everybody, this is Ozzy. This is time for another photo processing video, and it's coming at you right now. So see you in just a few seconds. Hey, welcome back everyone. This is Ozzy, and this is going to be a photo processing. We're going to work on a photo of the Ohio State Stadium. And it was taken back a little while ago and some little bit older data, but I want to show you my photo processing workflow. It goes from LightRoom to PhotoShop to the NIK Collection. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So as you can see on my screen right now, I already have the several photos already selected. So we're going to have presets done on them and stuff like that in general. So LightRoom's kind of basically is the file area where we're actually just keeping everything. We do a little bit presets, but it's mostly just to take care of some of the exposures and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get it ready and send it into Photoshop. So I'm going to go up to Photo, Edit in, and Open as Layers in Photoshop. So as you can see, it's already starting to process through. And yep, already got a couple in, so we're in good shape right now. So here, what we do here is we're gonna go ahead and put in a couple of layers, and we're gonna blend those layers together. And then we're gonna just make the photos a little bit more, pleasant to look at. And it's the beginning portion of the, part of the beginning portions of the photo processing. Okay, we got them in there. Then you can see we have quite a few of these areas right here. So if you do want to make this full screen, hit Command-0 and it's going to make it full screen. I'm fine where it's at. I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. I don't need it just yet. First thing I am going to do is I'm going to come here to select, and I'm going to select all layers. And now I'm going to do a blend mode. I just want to see what type of blend modes are. This is blending all the layers together and see what the photo looks like in general. Right now I'm already liking darken, but lighten's not too bad either. Actually, I'm kind of liking that too. And the good thing about lighten is the fact that it can already get muddy enough as it is. Sometimes by taking lighten mode, it will actually, you can keep adding more and more on it and it'll get darker. Pin light's not too bad either. But I think I'm gonna go with the darken color mode. Yeah, seems like the best bet for me. All right, next step is I'm gonna go ahead and click on these little eyeballs and pretty much just make it so that these things are not visible. I'm gonna go to the first one, bring out the eyeball, and we already have the selection tool right here already selected. So now I'm just gonna move this around, and I'm gonna try to make sure it's basically, you see how you have the little indentations and stuff like that? I'm just going to make sure it's as close to the mark. Doesn't have to be right on there, but we do want to get close. There we go. We're going to do it for every single layer. Again, we don't have to get it on the mark 100% perfect, but we like to get it a little bit close, because the closer you can get, the less things you got to delete out later on. But sometimes if you do it and you got other areas that you don't have to want to delete, it kind of looks interesting. It has a very neat little abstraction view to it sometimes, but it doesn't always work out that way, so kind of just gotta work with it. There we go. So we have a nice little view right now for that. All right, now you notice we have these little tidbits and stuff like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start using the mask tool. Mask tool is going to allow me to get rid of these little areas, but still keep the full set of the photos. Now you can crop this out if you want to, and there's a good chance that I'll end up actually cropping out later on. But I like to do it at the end, and by keeping more, it's going to allow me to have more to work with later on. And then I can, because if I crop now, I can't get back. That's the main thing I look at. There we go. There we go. Starting to look like one cohesive photograph now. There we go. And if you're not sure about it, you can always redo it and stuff like that. And as you go through these, then you also want to just do little things like this to see if there's anything else you want to take out. Like, notice how this has this big portion right here. I would have to delete it out, but if I do this, see how it's gone? Now I'm just going to go ahead and take the paintbrush to delete it out. I just do that, and that's less I have to delete. Go. I'm going to keep that there because that gives it more of a levelness to it. Do the same thing here. You notice that's gone right here as well. So I'm going to get that out of there. Like everything else. That's good. Go there. I like the way that's shaped right there a little bit more than how it goes right there. So take a little bit off right here. There we go. Gives a little bit more room up here. And take a little bit of that off. All right. So now we have that. Now I'm going to flatten the layer, and I'm going to confirm that is where I want to start. Click that little key to open it up because we're going to add more editing, but I don't want to edit on the original one, so I duplicate it. So the next part is we are going to get rid of a few things, like these little telephone poles. Do not need them. So I'm going to edit, fill, I'm going to remove, and it is gone. These things I'm okay with. This I do not like, so I'm going to highlight that, edit, fill, gone. And you're not always going to get rid of it the way you want to. Like, see right here, get this little portion that's nice, but I'm going to try it again now. You may get exactly what you want, you may not. Sometimes you got to keep trying, sometimes you have to finagle. It just depends on how it looks. And there's a little bit right here. I'm going to go ahead and do that just to see if I can get rid of a little bit right there as well. There we go. A little bit right there. Remember, this is not journalistic, so we can go ahead and do a lot of edit fills as much as we want to. We don't have to save the integrity. And for little things like this little thing, we can just do spot remover. Go. Go. That looks better already. That looks fine, that looks fine. Actually, kind of don't like that. Remove that out of there. That looks much better now. And you see how they got markings going up and down versus that way. Sometimes you just want to go with the grooves instead against the grooves, and that'll help out a little bit. It doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. See, that didn't work out, so I'm gonna hit Control Z and get that to remove to take that out. All right. So that looks decent. So now that we have that where we kind of want that, now I'm going to duplicate that layer because I don't want to lose that. Because if you can delete it out, you can't get it back. So you want to make sure you're doing it the right way. All right, so the next step is what I always like to do, go in adjustments, and I'm going to go into levels, and I'm going to take the darks, bring it up here, so I'm going to bring that dark in there, and I'm going to bring the lights up to there. kind of just adjusting the photos, bring out the blacks, bring out the whites. Usually you want to keep it as close to that little hill right here as possible. Not always, but sometimes. There you go. That looks good. All right, so the other things we can do here, and you got to think about what you want here now as well, because we have tan, we got blues and stuff like that. It looks nice. You could do a couple of things. We can do more adjustments where we're actually going to the hues and saturations, and you're changing things, but this will change the whole photo itself. And you can see it's not really all that great. It can work real well sometimes, but it doesn't always work that well. I'm going to do another layer. I'm going to go some orange. Instead of using gradient now, I'm going to use the paintbrush tool. I'm going to add that, and of course it looks like a big paint blob. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to multiply now and bring it opacity down to 0 because I want to see how it comes up gradually. And I'm going to gradually bring it up. See how it looks. And that's already starting to give it more of a warm tone to it, which is really nice. But I don't want to go too much. And let's bring it back. That's a little bit better. And I'm already seeing a couple little things right there. So I am going to, while I'm here, get those out. I do not like the way the little splotches are. And you'll see stuff like that come up every once in a while as you're going through new areas and stuff like that. Sometimes just change that color will do that. All right, so now I got that. I'm gonna add another layer. Watch our things pop up. There we go. Suppose you had too many layers. Now, make sure I bring this up to the main area. I'm gonna do another thing of orange, but I am going to change this instead of multiply. I am going to take it down here to overlay. See how it gives that ever nice brightness to it? But I'm going to drop this down to 0 and I'm going to bring it up slightly again. And that's already done tons better. But I don't want to overdo it because see how you got like that? It's way too much already. So I'm going to bring it down, bring it up just slightly. Just enough that we can see a bit of a glow, I think. There we go. Just like that. That's good. All right. So this looks really, really nice. And sometimes you're looking at this and like, you know what? It's very sepia, very monotone. And that easily happens. What you could do is take some blue and do a gradient tool and we can do something like this. And of course, that to the other way, so I had to go up here to this area and choose one color instead of the black to change up because every time you make a mistake, that happens. There we go. We can do this, and we can make a slight change to the coloring in the sky. See how soft light looks with the gradient. And it just, no. So I'm gonna get rid of that. So maybe what I'll do instead is I'm gonna highlight it. Now I will try to do the hue saturation since we already have the coloring here. Let's see here. Oh, that's already starting to look better. Look at that. Of course, we don't want to go too weird. Ooh, that's nice. All right, kind of like that. Let's go with something like that that gives a very golden hourly type of look. Usually that doesn't happen like that, but that's really nice. Okay, so now we have that. All right, got that looking good. Next thing, even though that looks really good and it's really good by itself, now going to what I call the secret weapon, the NIK Analog 6. What this does is it'll kind of give you a nice little extra buff to what you've already done. So you already see how it is right now. I got all these presets. Now these presets are given to me, or not given to me, I bought them off of Andrew S. Gray, one of the really great ICM photographer. I learned my photo processing off him actually. If you want these, go to his website, and there's also a link in my description here to go to that website. You can get them right there. Get those form. These will get you a good start halfway there, but you do have to do some things because you want to make sure they're your own art. But this will get you to a good level and stuff like that. And then you can also watch his YouTube as well, and it'll help you out as well. He has a very similar style as I do, or at least photo workflow style. I consider him more of a master than me, but he's really good. So I'm going to show you a few things here. What I'm basically doing now is I'm just looking through and just seeing, you know, what looks nice as far as coloring wise or shape wise. Just, you know, what makes sense to me. Ooh, that looks nice. That looks nice as well. You'll find out a lot of times if you get that, nail that first portion, that beginning portion, make it look as really nice as possible. When you go into presets, lots of times as presets, you get a lot of really good ones. And then sometimes you will work with it and it's from the beginning to the end, it's pretty much like polishing a turd. Really not much you can do about it. But as you can see right here, we had quite a few already that are just looking really, really nice. So now it's coming down to what aesthetic do I want to go with, which is really nice because when that happens, it's almost makes your job, it's enjoyable, but it makes it harder because of the fact that you're like, oh, I don't want to make that mistake. You know, you got this. You can save this as a PDF or a PowerPoint. You can go back in and do it again and do it again and do it again. You can get a whole bunch of them. So let's see, what do I like? You know, I want to see, maybe let me look and see if my other ones, because I have made some myself as well. So let's see, made some presets of my own. See if I have anything interesting here as well, and they are looking pretty good. My own presets as well. Ooh, not that one. That one's pretty bad. Kind of like this one right here though. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this. This is one of my own presets. It looks really nice. So I used this from a Hoover Dam one made from there. It was and you'll see eventually some other published photos of mine, stuff like that. But I went to Hoover Dam and I did a couple photos of landscape and some of the ships out there. So I got a couple photos, made a preset out of it. It looks really cool. If you like them, you know, give the video here a thumbs up if you like what I'm showing right here. Make sure you also go to places like ICM Photo Network Mag. Go to the Facebook site for ICM Photo Mag. Go in there. There's a lot of great people in there who can help you learn these things, so keep doing stuff like that. So here's the network for this. I'm going to look second exposure. I got detail extractor. I got less vignette, some film type, and levels curves. I'm going to work first off with the second exposure because I kind of like this, but I'm going to see what else I can do with it. So I move this around a little bit. Kind of gives a smoky feel to it. I'm kind of liking something like this because it kind of, you see how it gives this little darkness to it right here, where it's point here to point here to point here. So it's kind of giving that little bit of a foreground, but not really. Kind of like it. You can keep moving around, and you can see there's other things like here's a portion. Basically, this is this portion up here. So all I'm doing is kind of moving around the film around to see what I like, because you never know. It may not go the way you want to at the very beginning. Let's see, what do I want? I can cover all this up, because you can even rotate right here too. So like, you see how you do this right here? Doesn't look as good as rotated, but you can do that if you want to. Sometimes it'll look amazing if you rotate it. You can even put it just 2 shots top it, because this is basically it on top of stuff just blowing up. Do that too. Look at that. It's the same thing, just spinning around. But and if you ever want to actually go ahead and put this back to the beginning, select here, go back up, automatically puts it back where it was. Go here. Go ahead and just move this up a little bit. Ooh, actually I kind of like this because see that little darkness is putting right there? I kind of like that because your eyes are going straight to that darkness in here, here, here. Kind of like that right there. Gives a little bit of good darkness out of shadow. Now, once you have something like that, if you like it, you got the exposure, you can exposure balance, zoom strength, rotate strength, whatever you want to do. So right now we're at 63%, so you want to remember that in case you want to go backwards. Bring it down a little bit, see what happens. Bring it up a little bit, see what happens. You may want it to be brighter, you may want it to be lower. I'm gonna keep it at 63. I don't really want to change it at all. Exposure balance 26%, so let's see what that is. The less you do, the more the old photo comes. The more exposure balance you have the other way, the more the new photo that you just flipped over will come. See how you're pretty much covering it? You'll do that. I think I'm gonna cover it up just a little bit. Kind of like. So once you get like a point right there, remember this is also like Instagram stuff like that. It's going to be squished down. So you want to remember that. So you kind of want to bring it back a little bit once you find somewhere like I kind of like this. So I'm going to bring it back to like maybe 30% instead of the 40%. Yeah, kind of like that. There we go. Zoom and strength will bring it out or in. I'm not going to really mess around with it, but you can do it if you want to. In general, rotate will rotate to spin everything around. Like I'm at 0 right now. I can put it back, but you'll see what this means. Do that. See how it's blurring and stuff like that, how it's doing that. I'm going to bring it back because I don't really need any zoom, so I'll put that. You can also type in right there as well. Detail extractor. You can mess around that I want. Here's a little bit more detail. Here's a little less. Kind of like, I usually tend to like less detail than more detail, but you can put as much as you want to. I think I'm gonna bring it at like maybe a 5 and leave it at that. Always love contrast, but I'm gonna bring it at 10 and I don't want to go too far with it. Lens vignette. Lens vignette gives it a lot of depth and feel. So right now we have amount 17. That means it's a little bit more on the brighter side. You can always bring it down to darker side, lighter, and stuff like that. But for right now, I keep it at 17 because that's where the preset was. And then let's move it around, see what we like. Do that, do that, bring it down. Remember, it all depends on what you're trying to do. Now, I kind of like this because it's getting it darker down here and it's bringing this up here lighter. And just a little key note that, you know, if you're going to do something like this, the more brightness you get, more the eyes are going to go towards that bright, because our eyes automatically go towards light and brightness. We may say we want to go towards darker, but usually it's to the brightness. Now, the darkness is there as well, and it helps out a lot, but our eyes do go to the brightness more. So we have that. So I'm going to try and see what happens if I... let's brighten it up just slightly. No, I think I'll keep it where it was, 17. Now you can also increase the size. You can decrease the size. You can change the shape. Square, circle, square, circle. See how the coloring changes or stuff like that. But like, see, I like this, but the more I do this right here, I like it up here better because I'm also getting more darkness and stuff like that. But you know, you can also bring it up here, and then you can actually bring the darkness down here even more and do that. Actually, that looks really nice. We can just bring it a little bit more dark. Let's see here. I don't want to do too dark because too dark gets a little muddled. And then sometimes you go through this right here and realize, you know what, I kind of liked it better where it was before, so I'm going to bring it back to 17, nice and bright. There we go. I'm going to keep it back where it was, with the presets, what I originally liked it at. I think I'm going to, because you can always do more, but I'm going to bring it down here because I want the darkness more down here than over here. All right, then we have film type. Now we have subtle, you got cool, warms. Right now it's on subtle, so let's see what happens when we do warm, because warm does do a lot better sometimes, but you never know. You see the coloring just changes a little bit. And if you like this, then you can go up one. So far, like in the original. Yeah. That was not too bad. I kind of like that best. You can fade it, you can keep it non-faded, depends on what you like. Keep it where it was, and you can add strength to it if you want to. I usually keep the grains per pixel up as much as possible, but you don't have to. You can make it harder or softer, and of course there's levels of curves if you want to. I usually don't mess around with it too terribly much because I like to mess around in other areas, but I kind of like this the way it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and apply. And so far, this is actually coming out fairly well. We got some nice golden hour here. We got some nice crackling here, and this is obviously the main focus, but you have all this pointing up to it and it's going down, so that looks really nice. Another thing I will do sometimes, just because I want to mess around, is I'm going to take this into Vivenza, because sometimes you want to add a little more contrast or bring other things out. You can kind of use these little presets it comes with in NIK, which are also very helpful. Or if you already know what you want, put that to the side, and you can actually work with control points. Like this is what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to work with a control point, and I kind of want to bring these little things out a little bit more. So I do this. You can go with these little areas, or you can do it here. These are the same thing as these. It just depends on which way you like. And if you want to increase the size, you increase the size through here or a little lower. I'm gonna do about that because I want to, go with all that. Now what I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna increase a little bit of contrast to bring it out just a little bit. I don't want to bring out too much, just a little bit. There we go. Take the shadow. There we go. I take the warmth down just slightly right there because the sun's coming really hard right there, but not as much. So, and if you want to put brightness, you can do that. I mean, it helps to some degree. Actually, that actually helps out a lot because we do have the brightness come right here. That's going to hit that pretty well. Now, if you like this right here, you can just copy it by pressing Option and drag it over. See, if you just drag it just drags. If you hit Option, it'll copy it over. And you can do other things with this if you don't like certain parts, like we don't need a lot of brightness over here. Take that down a little bit because we already have a lot of brightness. Take the structure down because that's also pretty far over there, so we don't need to see that much. I bring up the shadow just a little bit because see how the shadow bringing out just a little bit, not too much, just enough because we do have some areas over here that it should bring out the little shadows to a degree, and that's good. All right. That looks good. I'm gonna put one up here. And sometimes you can do it just to see if you would actually like something. And if you accidentally put more than one, because it does happen times, just hit the delete button. I'm just gonna mess around. I just want to see, you know, by adding red or something like that, see what happens. Sometimes you remove it, see if it works, add it in, because you can add the colors to it. Because see, I'm messing around with the reds right here, and actually I'm kind of liking that. I don't want to put too much, just enough to it kind of accentuate here, accentuate here, accentuates there. But because of the fact I got so much right there, I do kind of want to bring that down over to here as well, because I want to mirror that if I can. There we go, just enough, not too much, but just enough to mirror it. There we go, kind of like that. Okay, I'm liking all that. I'm gonna leave that as is because I don't want to mess around with too terribly much. I hit the apply button. All right. Now, if you ever want to do anything more, because you can do a lot of things with color and stuff like that, you can also go into NIK Color FX as well. I'll go in every once in a while. Sometimes I'll do it to mess with the tonal. Sometimes I'll go with the coloring to give it like half and half. Like for instance, here's the tonal contrast. And you can select on multiple presets already, pre-portions, because you can see like that makes it default. It really brings everything out. This is strong. That's very strong. Not really my taste, but hey, if you like it, that's up to you. There's high pass, here's softening. I tend to like softening more often, and you have these little highlights and these little things right here, so you can mess around with a little bit. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to use this. I probably won't, but we'll see. So, let's see. That actually looks kind of nice, but I don't want to be too much, take too much of the photo out of it, so I'm going to bring these things up just a little bit. Sometimes you gotta mess around with it, sometimes you gotta just tweak it here and there. There we go. And if you ever want to compare it and stuff like that, because right now this is normal, here's side by side, here's normal. I'm gonna use a slider. So this shows you what it looks like. Now, this is what look how it came in. So if you're not sure if you like it or not, you can see. I instantly like it better, personally. So this is definitely very helpful. So, and if you know you like this, and you want to try something else, because right now we have this one, what I'm going to do next, just to see, you never know, I might like something else. Let's see, I'm going to go up here to architecture, and graduate filters. I'm gonna hit the plus button, because if I go otherwise it's gonna delete it out, but if I hit the plus it's gonna add one to the filter, and automatically I have a brand new one. Now you can also, for these ones here, you can select on these, it gives you like little previews, but these are not all the ones, because there's only like what, maybe 3 or 4 right there. You select any of these right here, you come over to here, here's your color set. This is all the different colors you can use, and look how many different things you can have. It's kind of nice. Now remember, this goes into creative post-processing, so take it as you will. You may not want to do all this here, you may want to do less, you may want to do more. See. And if you do like, let's say you like this one right here, this is so far the best one, bring the opacity down or keep it up where it's at. You can blend it more or vertical, so you can do a lot of little things like that. You could even, if you don't like it up here, you can rotate this and bring it down here instead, and then blend it down here even more. Now I'm okay with it, but it's not really my taste personally. So I am not going to use this personally. Even though that kind of gives an interesting look. Well, that's not too bad. it's a little bit too much for me personally. Then if you don't like it, you don't have to do it. You can either click here or go to another one. It just depends on what you want to try. Try them all. Me personally, I tend to like things like the graduate filter, or bicolor use is fine. There's bicolor filters like this right here. It gives you automatic filters. You can just kind of blend with automatically. It just depends what you like. Just play around, see if you like something. If you don't, you never know. Like, of course, here's this coloring, which I tend to like more reds and oranges. Sometimes like this right here looks kind of decent. You can mess around with that. More blending, some more vertical shift, obviously, some less vertical shift, rotations. A lot of little things like that if you want to. Like that actually kind of looks pretty decent actually. And then of course, use a slider again. And I actually like this. I didn't think I was going to like this, but this kind of gives a even more of a sunny sunrise type of feel to it. So I'm going to go with the gift of force of mouth, and I'm going to hit the apply button because I actually like this. Now, one thing you'll notice right off the bat, at least I noticed it, is you do this, more things will pop out of you. Like now, this portion pops out like crazy. So I am going to edit fill right here, and I'm going to remove that. Well, before I do that, hold on. If you ever want to edit fill and you're not sure if it's going to work out, always do a duplicate so you don't lose what you just had. Now, edit fill. And it could go away. Now that looks great, right? I personally like that, but what happens if you don't like it? Well, try this. Now, opaque it. Little tips and tricks. Some of it will come in, and now I can keep it in, but now I just give it just a little bit. Look at it. Now I actually kind of like it a little bit better by opaquing it just enough to give a little bit more flair to it and not fully taken away, so I kind of like it better. So do that. And I'm gonna remove this here. And remove a couple more splotches that I don't like. All right. One last thing that I do when I'm in Photoshop, just to be on the safe side, because this looks really good, but sometimes you don't know it's not level. So let's go ahead and see here. Here's the ruler tool. You want to choose this, and what you want to do is do something like that. Go across where you know where it should be level, but it may not be. Do this. Straighten that layer, and it is great. If it's not, as you can see, it wasn't fully level. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crop just enough to take care of that, but at the same time frame I'm also going to use, check on these things here. And you notice it brought up like golden spiral or something like that. Obviously this is not going to work well for golden spirals. I'm going to go to ratio, and notice how that's all in there? I'm just making sure that it's completely in there. And I'm going to be removing these little portions like that, just to make sure it's all out. Now you can go ahead and highlight and color and fill gradient, because actually the new Photoshop does really good at that. I'm just going to crop it out because I just kind of like it. Now you can also, if you want to, crop as much as you want to. Like I can go like that, and actually looks really nice like that, or I can keep it like that in general. It just depends on what your aesthetic is. Like for instance, if I go back to golden spiral, now I do this right here. Doesn't look right in golden spiral. Golden ratio still looks better. Yeah. might do something like that a little more. For now it gets a little bit closer to the right side. Helps me add to a little bit of composition, gets a little bit of stuff, but now it feels a little bit more off key, which is actually kind of nicer for me, but that's just my aesthetic. I'm gonna hit that. Yeah, it looks fairly nice. And if you don't like it, Control Z, and it's all back. I don't want to take as much of that off as I thought I did. I kind of thought I did, but I'm just gonna keep it. That. Now, one thing I definitely want to do, because see how this right here is in there, I kind of want to make sure that that whole portion is now level with this right here. I kind of want to do that. That's a little better. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I am going to save as, and you're going to save it to wherever you want to save it. Save as a Photoshop and save it with a name like golden ratio OSU sunset, something like that in general. Go ahead and save it. You want to do it as a PSD because remember how before with we got everything done and we went into NIK Collection and had a whole bunch of them. What happens if you want to go back and you want to redo them all? Well, you don't want to redo everything, so go back to the PSD you had and you can actually have portion 1 and start over from there. Maybe we have 99%. Then we're going to wait for a second. It's going to go into LightRoom. And then that's pretty much all there is to it. And you can just go ahead and just verify what you want in general. I'll show you one last thing what I do just to be on the safe side. It adds a little bit of extra depth. Just takes one more second while it's still saving. Sometimes the saving 99% takes a few moments. I don't know why. It just does. Especially if you say at a higher resolution. Alright. This should now show up in LightRoom. And it does right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this back over to the develop side. I'm going to go to my masking tool. I'm going to go for linear. And I am going to put another mask right here. Up to that area. I'm going to bring this down here a little bit. And I am going to bring the exposure down just lightly. So you can do that to add more depth right here if you want to. I'm going to bring it down even further because I don't want to have too much. There we go. What that's doing is giving your eyes something you can go from the bottom up. So it's pointing straight up this way. You can mess around here a little bit in general, adds more blacks and more shadows. You can just play around, it just gives a little bit more information. But you definitely want to work on that area just to add more depth to it. And you don't have to do it just here. You can do it about top of here. If you want to brighten this area up here, you can do that too. Like, watch. Who knows? It may look even better up there. So I'm going to do that. And now I'm going to exposure like that. I'm going to bring exposure up. You can do the same thing. It brightens the sky up. And yeah, that looks fairly nice as well. It just depends on what you want to do. Me, I kind of rather keep it down here. And if you don't like this, then you can always just delete out. Not sure about that, you can bring it over a little bit more as well. You know, just keep playing with it until you get what you want. And see how this is a little brighter here, but this is also more brighter. If you don't like that, you want this to be a little darker. Yeah, just mess around here and there. See how that just gets a little bit darker right there as well. You want to do that, that's fine. Takes a little less contrast. Now actually that looks really nice because that's actually darkening this portion up right here, which falls switches here. You have a nice little portion and it's all highlighting. So, and you just kind of play around to see what you want. I think that might be just a little bit too dark, so I'm going to bring up the exposure. I'm going to do something like that. And yeah, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and come down here and hit the close button. And that is pretty much it. I am going to export that, save it, and we are good. So I'm going to save that as OSU Sunset and now, if you liked what you've seen, thank you. I'm going to do more photo processing videos and so forth here. I'm going to try to do it weekly, if not at least monthly, and I'll put more up here. If you like what you see, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, like, whatever, put a comment. I'll try to get back to you. And if you just want to watch, go ahead and watch. I'm fine with that too. Let me know. You can find me on Facebook through the ICM Photo Mag Network. I'll put my photos there as well. You'll see me on Instagram. Go ahead and reach out to me. And again, like I said, if you want to, there's Andy Gray's presets. Go to his site and take a look at it. Buy them. If you like ICM in general, as well as the ICM Photo Mag, go to the links in the description right here. I'll show you where it's at. Go ahead and get a subscription to it. Enjoy it. Otherwise, until then, thank you for coming by. Hope you learned something. See you next time. Bye.